Hey, everybody. You're listening to the ToyLines.com podcast. This is Ian Westhoff, and this is my good buddy,
Tom Romero.
And we're here back for our second podcast. For those of you who listened to our first one, thank you very much. Thank you for coming back. And for those of you who are just discovering us now, Tom, can you tell the kind folks where they can find our podcast?
I'm happy to do so, Ian. We'll be on Apple Podcasts this week, Podbean, Stitcher, and we're currently on SoundCloud. So all this week, you can find Toy Lines. I also want to point out, if you have any questions, you want to be a part of the show, email us at toyspodcast@gmail.com. TOYS podcast@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to visit the website, it's Toy Lines with a hyphen, toy-lines.com. Don't forget that hyphen, or I don't know where you're going to wind up.
Yeah. So how you feeling, Ian? How's this COVID treating you?
It's like a roller coaster, Tommy. It's up and down. One day it's normal. Next day it's spiking. Next day I'm wearing a scuba tank to breathe so I don't catch anything. It's pretty crazy out there. It's very scary. How about you?
Yeah. No, it's like night and day here. It's like nothing has happened. People are just walking around. I mean, literally insane. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I'm still out and about because of work. But it seems like some days I'm the only one with a mask on.
No, that's incredible considering here in Jersey, we wear a mask and for pretty much for everything. Anywhere you go indoors, I see people driving with them. This case is spiking up on the East Coast again. It's just a crazy time.
Yeah. If you can, people stay home, play with your toys, play with your kids, your loved ones,
your dog.
Just don't let them eat your figures.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Tom, where do you get your toys?
Excellent question. It's a variety of places right now, Ian. I'm a big fan of Big Bad Toy Store.
Okay.
They've always treated me well.
Okay. Just so the listeners, in case they want to check that site out, they know.
I'm trying to stay away from the big box stores, not because of some political agenda, but Walmart is horrible.
So we're talking brick and mortar.
Yeah, recently, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I would love to go to my local comic shop and buy toys there, but all these big corporations right now they want Walmart folks. They want the Target people. NECA has an exclusive deal with Target.
Oh, okay.
They released Casey Jones and In Disguised Wrath in their smaller scale movie figures. Could not get them online. They were sold out in seconds. I know a few people have ordered the Ghostbuster figures from Hasbro, and when they received them, just damaged cards, damaged bubbles.
The Ghostbusters, is this the kind of like the remake of the real Ghostbusters one?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I've seen pictures on Instagram of people's collectible crunched. Right. Send it back. That's what they're doing.
It's horrible. I mean, we're in a Toys R Us less era.
Invest in bubble wrap. That's all I got to say.
You know what it is? I'm thinking it's two parts. They don't care, and the employees are scooping them up.
Oh, without a doubt.
Now, back in the dinosaur age, I was a Toys R Us employee for a summer. And listen, I was a collector back then. They would just scoop up all of them. Now, this was way before eBay. But yeah, I mean, that was the advantage of working at Toys R Us. You'd get the good stuff firsthand.
Right.
Now, the allocation, that's a whole different story. This goes back into
a chase figure.
The chase figures, yeah. And not even chase figures back then, because I mean the variants were few and far between back then.
Right. Usually it was like the female figure. If you were, for instance, for Star Wars, Princess Leia might have been hard to find, or Boba Fett. Usually Boba Fett was pretty popular back in the 90s before The Mandalorian.
Right.
He was always tough to find.
Like with McFarlane, Party Angela, but that's when eBay was coming around. So people were hunting just to turn a profit. That's killing the industry, is the greed.
Of course. And I found in the old days, if I actually had that day off and I would go to the toy store when it was just before it opened, you would find a line of collectors out there. And it would be like, not a run, but it's a real fast walk to get to that toy aisle. It's like if you remember when the prequels came out, those midnight release of Star Wars figures, and
the
that
events.
was just like it was literally like a hockey match. Check into the aisles and getting a cart in your face or something.
I'll never forget 1999, episode 1. I went with a couple of friends of mine, the people we know in common.
Yep.
She literally was calling my name because a swarm of people were actually drowning her. I mean, and it was insane. Now, granted, Star Wars was huge. So, the percentage between actual fans versus people that just wanted the figures to turn around and sell them.
Maybe 50-50.
Yeah, possibly. But my point is, the reason why I'm bringing that up is those events don't happen anymore. Everything's everything's online, and then like the last giant one I participated in was San Diego last year with the new He-Man Origin figures. Now, I'm not talking down to Mattel, but their line control was horrendous. People were on top of each other again, trying to get online. Security
pre-COVID, by the way. So
yeah, pre-COVID. But I mean, security was horrendous. And I hate to say it, but most of the people on that line were vendors. They were just there
to turn it right around.
I remember looking at this one vendor in the eye because he had this dumbass smirk on his face that he got online and I got, I didn't. And then I was like, all right, fine. It's America. I went looking around for the 2-pack, and it was that same guy with the smirk. He had it listed for $200. I mean, that was like a 70% markup.
And you know what's sad about that? All this is when The Simpsons first came out, and you saw a comic book guy. It's a pretty fair rendition of some of the, maybe not the look of all, but the greed that some of these people have.
Yeah, and it's a shame.
It's very shameful because you just might want one, and because you're a fan and that's it, or you're picking it up for, I don't know, your nephew or something.
Right.
But these guys, they're in it for the money, and collecting has become much harder nowadays with the lack of stores. I honestly, sometimes I would rather go to maybe depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like a mystery mini fig or something, I'd rather go to Hot Topic and pay the $2 extra in price. Because there's, even though they get people lined up to go in and go in there, than fight a horde of people trying to get something. And the other problem I find is the exclusives. A lot of stores have them. Like if you look at Funko, there's a lot of exclusive figures to different places, and just trying to make a collection of whatever you're collecting, and you need to include the exclusives. It's very difficult. It's time consuming. It's financially consuming, and it's almost like that's your job in a way. It takes almost the joy out of toy collecting.
Yeah, exactly. Let me pose this question to you, Ian.
Yeah,
and to our listeners too. I would love to hear other people's comments. Why do you think Toys R Us went under?
I don't know. It's a good question, because
I mean, did they not adapt?
They had the website, and
was it price gouging? Was it
arrogance? Did they think they can still compete? I don't know. I know that when they left toy hunting, which is what I just like to call when I would go and look for toys, drive to like 5 different toy stores in a day, toy hunting got a whole lot difficult, and they a lot of things just got real tough to find. And when they finally came back, there's one in our local mall. It is nothing like it used to be. It is more like a showroom for toys.
Right, but think about old Toys R Us.
Oh yeah, like, are we talking 80s?
Well, no, just like when they started to go into Chapter 11. I mean, right. was it? A lot of people are blaming Walmart. Now, was it the pricing? I mean, well, why couldn't Toys R Us adapt? Maybe maybe it was what you said. Maybe it was greed. Maybe it was.
Well, you know what? Here's another thing. I'm 99% sure they bought FAO Schwartz when it went out of business. They bought, I believe, KB Toys. I could be wrong. I believe that's true. So you're spending money on these toy stores, and you're also spreading yourself thin, because in Toys R Us, you weren't just toys. You had a whole baby section for a registry. Right. You know, when I was a kid, Toys R Us was just toys. That was it. And the aisles just didn't seem to be as full as they were or could be or should be with toys. There were, you know, you would go check the Star Wars aisle or whatever, and, you know, you might find something, but 9 times out of 10, they didn't seem to have what you were looking for. And, you know, as a kid, you'd go there, you would find what you were looking for.
Right.
So, yeah, it could be they felt that perhaps they didn't need really to compete with Walmart. They have the name. People are going to come because of the name.
Right, but do you think they couldn't adapt?
It could be.
Was it the pricing? You know,
it might be they wouldn't. They just didn't want to. But the pricing is another thing. If Walmart was, of course.
Because here's what I'm getting at. Same thing with Wizard Magazine back in the day. Like, everybody was going online. You know, where was Wizard? You know, well, their online presence was very minimal.
Yeah.
You know, they wanted to save all the good stuff for the print magazine. But what I'm believing they didn't realize was print is dying, or started to die once the internet took over. So, you know, I'm wondering, why couldn't Toys R Us compete with the Walmarts?
And just a side note, what's interesting about Wizard is how they became the premier magazine for comics. I mean, Comic Scene was there. They stopped. You had Heroes and all these other magazines. And they beat them all. And then maybe that was their arrogance, you know, their downfall, that they didn't go to the internet. Nowadays, you need an online presence for no matter what you're doing. So going back to Toys R Us, maybe by not trying to price beat, at least price beat or price match Walmart, you know, might take a cut into their sales, but it also keep your customers coming back.
Exactly.
You know,
because I think part of the problem with Walmart is they don't have enough collectors in charge. You get these boxes. I mean, it's a nightmare if you're a mint on card collector. I mean, sure. You're never. I mean, unless you're physically there picking and choosing, and then you have to get lucky if your store is actually going to have 2 figures. I remember when a few months ago the Mandalorian figure came out.
Well, the Mandalorian. I know the funny thing about that. Actually, it's not funny if you never got one, but the Disney store was selling him way before that show came out. And I remember seeing it there and not getting it. And now I'm like, I was so stupid.
Was it that limited all white box packaging?
No, it's kind of like I believe it was a squarish box. I just remember it was there months before the show came out.
Because I remember they released an all white box. It was a Black Series Mandalorian all white box. I mean, if you were one of the lucky ones, it's up to $1,000 on eBay right now. Probably even more.
As far as the damaged box goes, I mean, if you're a person who opens your toys, it's not going to bother you. But if you're one of those, I used to be, open one, keep one in a box, that's a headache. You know, like you said. The other thing is getting there or knowing the schedule. When do the new toys get delivered? When do they get put out?
Exactly.
They get put out at night or first thing in the morning. So then there you go again.
And how many are going to be allocated to your local store? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the employees are gonna grab them now and put them straight on eBay.
And unless you're friends with somebody there, who
Exactly.
might put one on the side for you, just not out of you're slipping them a couple of bucks. It's just that you're grateful if you ask them a question and they go in the back and actually find it, and you thank them. And every time you see them, you say hello. You might strike up a friendship. Um, that's really the only way sometimes. There are guys who study the schedules, and they know when the shipping comes in, and when you work a 9 to 5 job or you work strange hours, wherever your type of job is, you don't get that luxury of sometimes going that day to get it.
Right.
And there's nothing worse than like walking out of a Target or Walmart not having that toy you want. I mean, worse things, but you get my point.
Now let me ask you this: how do you feel about direct to consumer, like Super 7?
Super 7.
They're doing their Thundercats line. They're doing
you're saying
their Turtles.
Direct to consumer, they're going to mail it to you.
Exactly, straight from the website. I
think actually that's kind of cool. It takes away from the shopping experience, but let's face it, the shopping experience has been ruined for many years.
Oh yeah.
So I like that. I like the fact that I can go online, order my figure, and I know what's coming. And if there is a problem, I can track it. It's damaged. I can contact them, and speak to somebody. Instead of having no ability whatsoever in this deal. If you wanted all the, I know they did some of those Universal Monsters, or even for those baseball collectors out there, they did a bunch of sports figures, baseball mascots and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
If you want those, go right there. You can order them. I've been wondering. I've been meaning to ask them every toy fair we go to if they're ever going to do a hockey, just for the hell of it, because it would be cool to get a Wayne Gretzky figure. But
McFarlane Toys.
That's true. They do, yeah.
Yep.
But I think direct to consumer is a excellent idea, and
I do too. I prefer direct to consumer.
Is there
going to the brick and mortar? Unfortunately,
is there a higher charge in that, or is that just like they're priced and you just pay shipping?
No, you just pay shipping. You know what? Some places charge tax. I know eBay just started charging tax now.
So I know I've always seen some states have to pay a tax depending where you're ordering it from.
Right. So
from New Jersey, if I was ordering it from somewhere, if I happen to be in that state where it's coming from, you have to pay a tax. I never understood how it worked. I just know it happened. You pay your shipping and handling. Maybe you pay tax. But I think that is an excellent way to go, especially if you're looking for something.
I like the fact you're eliminating the big box stores. You're getting what you want. It's going to come in great condition. Mm-hmm. I wish I knew the numbers, because I know, Super 7 is very tight as far as mass producing. I know NECA wants as many consumers as possible. That's why they're working with Target. McFarlane Toys is the same thing, although they do a lot of variants, which, you have to go around chasing.
Well, the thing about Super 7 that I like is the fact that you can do that. And it's almost like they don't need to go into stores, because you can go right to them.
Exactly.
That's kind of cool. I mean,
their reaction line is big enough where it can go to retail.
I got to tell you, I love their reaction line. I think it's because it reminds me so much of the Star Wars figures from when we were kids. The Kenner figures. Yeah, the packaging looks like it. Just the way they look. And 9 times out of 10, whatever they make, they're making something that I liked as a kid. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did the Crow, they did the Rocketeer, just one figure. They look great. They did Universal Monsters, which has a nice Remco feeling from back in the late 70s, early 80s. I don't think you're a big fan of these, Tom, but they did those He-Man figures. Super 7 did the reaction He-Mans.
The reaction He-Mans I wasn't too crazy.
Yeah, I liked those.
But I tell everybody this. You have to give props to Brian Flynn over at Super 7. Once Mattel dropped the ball on classics, he picked it up, and they did an excellent job of it. He continued Club Grayskull, the Filmation figures, which were also excellent. And
didn't they get around also some hurdle to get those movie figures out for He-Man?
Oh yeah.
And it was like
here's the story as I understand it. The license holder or the owner of the 87 live action movie despises Mattel.
Okay.
I don't know why, but
so you're talking like the person who owns the film, right?
correct.
Okay, go ahead.
He despises Mattel. I have no idea why. They found a loophole. Excuse me, using the artwork from William Stout,
Right.
and that's how they obtained the rights to create the William Stout Masters of the Universe live action.
Which looks pretty cool. I remember seeing those.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. If you go on toylines.com, Ian, you can see our review.
Remember the hyphen, folks.
Yes.
Sometimes I forget, and I work for Toy Lines, so it happens. But yeah, Super 7.
Yeah, I mean, Super 7 is a great company. I'm very happy what they're doing.
And you know what? They're one of the nicest companies. Every toy fair,
Brian's
friendly,
always
polite.
Yeah. Brian always welcomes us. He always gives us an interview. They're great guys there.
Yeah, I enjoy going to see what they do. One of the things I enjoy is seeing what they're doing new, what new figures they're coming out with, and sometimes they'll have the gray figure, like the not the final image or the final figure,
like a prototype.
The prototype. Thank you. Yeah, and I love seeing what they're doing because it's just like, oh, cool, finally, it's. They're just a bunch of great guys.
Oh yeah, and they've done the impossible. They're bringing us Snake Mountain. The only closest thing to that was Scott Knightlick and Mattel with Castle Grayskull a few years back. But Snake Mountain, they've done it.
Let's talk about that for a second. As a kid, we're going to go back to the Mattel version. But as a kid, which one did you like more, Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain?
Castle Grayskull.
Okay, so I remember Snake Mountain had that little microphone. Right?
Yep.
You were talking to?
Mm-hmm.
But it always sounded too metallic to me. But I loved Castle Grayskull. I thought it was just the coolest looking thing. And it was just like, that is so cool. Like, this incredible looking toy.
I'll be honest with you. The only reason I wasn't that big of a fan of the vintage Snake Mountain is because only one section looked like the Filmation cartoon. Like the other side had this giant snake head that moved a little, his mouth moved and stuff. Why? It didn't look like the cartoon. Now I may be Filmation biased,
Yeah, we all have our favorite hours of a certain.
But I mean, Castle Grayskull was where all the power of good lied for me.
And it was
that's
first.
why I loved it. It was
first. That's the other thing. It's like when you started collecting He-Man, you usually got a couple of figures, and at Christmas time, maybe Castle Grayskull, and it was just like that was your big gift. Year from Santa, and it was just like this thing is so. It was like for boys, the Barbie Dream House, and it was just incredible. I still remember looking at it as a kid and being like, this thing is so friggin' cool. That's really all you could say. It was like. The Death Star of He-Man toys. They made a good Death Star back then, but poor choice of words, I guess. So Super 7 is just an excellent company when it comes to. I think more companies should do the direct to consumer route.
Absolutely.
I think.
I mean that's why a lot of creators now are going to Kickstarter and Indiegogo because maybe they don't want to deal with boardrooms and trying to.
They get very bored in those rooms.
Yeah.
Just sorry, folks. Poor attempt at humor. We never said we were funny. We just like
unintended.
That's right. That's a good point. They can kind of avoid some of that stuff and just get their toy out. It's almost like an independent filmmaker making that film.
And at the same time, I mean, it's a double-edged sword because now you have to take off your creative cap and put on your businessman cap. How are we going to do logistics? How are we going to get these to the consumer? Websites and this and that. So it kind of is a double-edged sword in a way. And then hopefully we're going to get some folks that have experience with Kickstarter on the show, and we'll be talking about that real soon.
Cool. Yeah, it's a very interesting concept.
Enjoy direct-to-market other than brick-and-mortar stores.
I'm going to be honest. I go to Target. I've been to a Walmart in a while, but I just look. I don't even know what I would buy if I was there right now. And toy really has to jump out at me and be something just that is like so cool and something I like so much that I'm like, oh, I have to get this. I think the last time that happened was maybe 2 years ago. I was in Target with my wife, and I had just had an article published in a Disney magazine about the history of Scrooge McDuck, and I saw the DuckTales, the new DuckTales Scrooge figure, and I was like, I have to buy this. That was
the
like
Funko one, or was it Funk? Well,
no,
yeah, Funko made one, and then
Fat Toys or something like that.
Yeah.
That was the one, and I was just like, it was based off the TV series, the new cartoon show, and I was just like, I have to buy this. And that was really the last time I felt like I needed to buy a toy, because I would, as much as I would love to collect action figures left and right, you know, sometimes you got to pay those bills and
absolutely
all that stuff. So, you know, unfortunately, that as you get older as a collector, you got to work in that mortgage or whatever into your toy collection. It gets rough. So, what else we got, Tom?
So, that's our spiel on brick and mortar. But yeah, let us know what you guys think, because I want to continue this topic. Don't forget, toyspodcast@gmail.com is the email.
You know, let us know if you agree, if you disagree, any of the experiences you've had in the past with toy collecting, or experiences you have now. Are you lucky enough to find those figures? Or are you not lucky enough to find those figures? What do you do as an alternative? You know, this could help other collectors out there find that toy they're looking for. These are the toys you're looking for. So, you know, you never know.
All right, let's get into the news.
Okay. So, what are we starting with?
Let's see. Super 7, speaking of which, just opened up their Wave 3 of Turtles line. And you're getting Michelangelo, April O'Neil, Rocksteady, and my personal favorite, Metalhead.
And you know what's interesting is the texture on Michelangelo's undershell. I forget that actual type, what they call that shell on a turtle, but the one that's on his chest. You can actually see the texture in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, these are great figures. Personally, I'm not collecting them only because they're just, I don't want to bring them down, but I have a Playmates collection. You know, right. I know these are more, you know, updated, more articulated, more detailed. But there's only so many times you can buy the same figure, you know? And I know and I know as a He-Man collector, I'm probably sounding ridiculous, you know, not intelligent about it. He-Man's my go-to. So I'll be buying Origins. I know some of them are out there already, but still going to wait fortunately for retail. But back to the Turtles. I wish them well. If you love these, you know, you had them as a child. They feel more retro to me than anything.
They do. They do look like the cartoon series. April's face looks maybe a little off, but you know, they are good looking figures.
I know a lot of people are comparing them to the NECA figures that are coming out soon. Unfortunately, April's taking a big hit on, you know, facially as compared to the NECA one. But I mean, you're getting two different figures if you really look at it. You're getting a Playmates version of April with Super 7, but you're getting an animated, you know, with more outline from NECA.
And really, nobody's forcing you to buy both. You really, when it comes to collecting, I think, buy what you like.
Yeah, personal preference.
Unless you can afford to buy everything, then that's excellent.
Yeah.
You know, if you just want to buy the one that you like the most and mix up your collection between Super 7, NECA, Playmates, that's cool too. You know, there's no law to toy collecting, at least that I know of.
So you can get Wave 3 now at super7.com or Super 7 store. You can see them on their Twitter and website.
Cool. I'd like to tell you guys about a documentary. There is a gentleman we interviewed from Down Under. It goes by the name of Dags. He is was a big Batman collector, especially from 1989. His collection is incredible. If you go to toylines.com, toy-lines.com, you can read our interview with him. He at one point had, he still has this incredible collection just of Batman. We're not talking Joker or anything like that, just Batman, unless they came together. He has a documentary out about his collection and collecting. So this is very interesting. If you go to batmanandme.com, www.batmanandme.com, you can see some of the film clips. You can see him in his collectible room, and they have stills of his collection. The doc isn't out yet, but the clips offer you kind of an insights into the mind of a collector. And I remember watching just this week this documentary and thinking to myself, I completely agree with that. It's the mindset of when you're in the middle of collecting, Then later on, here's a man who physically cannot get rid of his collection because he's a collector. It's in a room. He doesn't go in the room anymore. He only goes in when he has friends who want to see it. But it's a very interesting documentary. I highly recommend it if you're a Batman fan, especially for '89, and especially just if you're interested in the whole collecting thing. It really makes you look differently at it. Again, it's batmanandme.com, and just congratulations to Dags for getting his documentary out there. It's going to be, I believe, in an Australian film festival soon, so it's pretty cool.
Mezco goes on sale tomorrow. The 112 Silent Screamers. Their first offering is Nosferatu.
Yes, this figure looks incredible. What I'm really digging about this is that they did a 30-second trailer on their site, and it looks like it had some stop motion in it. The trailer itself did 1 or 2 clips from the movie, and this figure is just beautiful. If you're not familiar with the movie, it was released in 1922. It's a silent film, hence the Silent Screamers. It's a German film, which is, the story is essentially Bram Stoker's Dracula. They changed just enough to not get sued, but they did anyway. Bram Stoker's wife had them destroy every single copy of the movie. There were versions that remained, which is how we still have this movie to today. The vampire is Count Orlok, played by Max Schreck. He kind of looks very rodent-like, which is one of the things I like about him. He's such a different-looking vampire. And it was directed by a German director named F.W. Murnau, if I pronounced that correctly. Believe it or not, though, out of an hour and 34-minute short silent film, Nosferatu is only in the movie for under 10 minutes. But this is a really cool-looking toy for anybody who's into horror movies or black and white. If he looks familiar, it might be because you've seen clips of him in the Queen and David Bowie video for Under Pressure back when MTV played music videos. So this is a definitely cool toy. I really like this one.
It's an honor to get an IP with the Mezco treatment. I mean, Mezco's never let any collector down. Another direct-to-consumer line. You know, you're going to get super articulation, super detailed, real clothes. From the pictures themselves, Nosferatu is getting the Mezco treatment is extremely valuable if you're a horror film or even a Nosferatu fan.
If you're a vampire fan.
Exactly.
And if you like rodents, because he looks like one. If you haven't seen the trailer, definitely go to their Twitter site. I think I said their website. It's on their Twitter page, and check it out. It's a really cool, short little trailer. It gives such a great feeling for the movie and this toy. I think just as much thought went into this trailer as into this figure. So you're in for a great treat by getting this toy.
And then McFarlane Toys on their Twitter account recently gave fans a teaser of a McFarlane Toys Doomsday. Now, these are just the prototype figures, but I mean, they're beautiful. You know, you're expecting the McFarlane treatment with DC, and you're getting it. I mean, the Doomsday figure is super detailed, and I believe that's a Year Zero Batman next to him, which was also teased. I mean, you're hyper detailed on this guy. I mean, McFarlane Toys is, you know, doing great work with the DC figures line. I'm looking forward to these.
Cool. There is a interesting toy coming out for you Jurassic Park fans. It is a Dennis Nedry. If you remember him from the first Jurassic Park, he's the guy who got spit in the face by the Dilophosaurus. He's also played Newman in Seinfeld. What's cool about this toy is it's an San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from Mattel. The figure comes actually packaged really cool. It comes in a can of Barbasol shaving cream. There's no shaving cream in it, but it looks like a Barbasol. When you open the can, you see the figure. He's in his Hawaiian shirt. He's got his glasses. He comes with a bag, a little piece of pie, some shaving cream on top, and a little Barbasol. It's pretty cool looking. I believe it's going to be released. It's going on for pre-order at Entertainment Earth for $20, one per customer. You know, when you're trying to get something this cool and exclusive, I think it's fair that to do that. And then in July, Mattel Creations will be selling it. But this is a really cool looking figure. It does look like Wayne Knight, who played the character. And then speaking of Wayne Knight, who also played Newman in Seinfeld, what do we got, Tom?
Lego has just announced a Seinfeld collection or collectible. Looks like you'll be getting Jerry's apartment and will feature all the main characters from the 90s Seinfeld show.
With Newman.
Hello,
Newman. So that's pretty cool, actually. I actually kind of dig this. I'm not good at Legos, but I like this.
Legos are fun.
I've heard they're doing a Home Alone house, which I would guess would come with Kevin McAllister in the Wet Bandits. I'm not 99% sure on that. I believe it's true. You know, for you Lego collectors out there, especially if you 90s Seinfeld fans, here's a cool looking toy.
Now, isn't Lego also doing a Friends?
I think they did, or
okay.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. So I remember looking at their site the other day, and that does sound familiar. So I believe they did. Excuse me. Lego seems to be doing pretty much everything nowadays. Which is pretty cool.
And the 90s are coming back.
Yeah, I mean, Friends will be on HBO whenever they do it.
My Grod.
Yes, not Gorilla Grodd, but My Grod.
Yeah, it's from mygrod.com.
These are actually adorable.
Basically, they are. They remind me of the Funko, with the happy faces and stuff.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of Weebles. If you're from the 80s, Weeble Wobbles, they don't fall down. These are pretty cool looking.
Yeah. Right now in the first set, apparently you're going to get Man-at-Arms, He-Man, Skeletor, and Beastman.
And is Castle Grayskull just a background, or is that?
I think, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think it's just a background.
These are really cute. For anybody who collects He-Man and they have a son, or
even a daughter.
Yeah. Or daughter, of course. Or if, you have a niece or nephew and you want to secretly get them into He-Man just to annoy your siblings. I think this is a great gift for a little kid. I mean, it's really cool. These are so friggin' cute. Can't stand it.
Yeah. These are cool. the gateway drugs for Masters of the Universe Origins.
This is how you do it, kids.
And then when you grow up, you can waste your trust fund on getting
that's it.
Back figures off eBay of Masters of the Universe classics.
Ain't it the truth? A couple of new shows coming out. Before we go back to the toys, Disney Plus is going to be having a Muppets Now series, a new Evil Dead movie coming out without Bruce Campbell. He's retired from the role officially. The movie, I believe, is called Evil Dead Rise. I believe it's going to have a female lead. There's not too much information about it, but it sounds interesting.
Does that have anything to do with the Showtime series?
I don't know, and I think it would be a good place to pick up.
Because I know Ash, on the series, he did have a daughter.
Yes, he did. That would be a great thing to pick up with his daughter, but not too much information about it yet. I don't think
Sam Raimi. I was just going to ask you, Sam Raimi involved?
I'm sure he's involved in some way. I don't think he's directing. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite shows, I gotta admit, I love it. Supernatural. It's supposed to begin refilming their final episode late this summer for their 15th season.
Now that's incredible.
Yeah, 15 seasons is the longest running show of a genre series. They had a shutdown due to COVID. All episodes were filmed. They were working on their final one.
They started when the CW was the WB.
That's right, and they're their only show that lasted from it. So,
I was hoping Smallville would outlast them, but
it's a hell of a show.
I bet.
They've done some great stuff in it. For all you Karate Kid fans, if you were watching YouTube's Cobra Kai, which I'm going to admit I was never a Karate Kid fan, and YouTube had a couple of episodes up for free, and they were really good. They really connected back to the film, especially the first one. The first 2 seasons are going to be going to Netflix, and they're going to be doing a 3rd season. This is the perfect time to jump on, especially for you 80s guys. Anybody sweep the leg,
Is Netflix producing it as well, the new season?
Yes, I don't know for sure. I just know that they're gonna definitely have the first 2 seasons, which is good because I didn't get to see all the episodes. And that they're gonna be doing a 3rd. And I really really mean it. It really was a good show. Takes place so many years, 20, 30 years later, and Johnny and Daniel, obviously know Mr. Miyagi, but it kind of picks up on their life, what's going on. They both have children. I was so surprised watching it because I was never really a fan of it, and I was like, "Holy, this is really good." So I definitely plan on watching that one.
Nice. Yeah, I have yet to check it out.
I did have one mistake from last week's episode, Tom. It was most non-triumphant. I forgot to mention, folks, that the official trailer or teaser for the third Bill and Ted movie came out. Bill and Ted Face the Music. So yeah, so that trailer is out. You've probably seen it by now. It's got a great poster. Bill and Ted, I'm a great fan of. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Now, how do you feel about that? Like, I was looking at the teaser and I was like, I don't know. Keanu he looks too adult for me. I don't know why.
It's funny. He always played this great Bill character. He was almost like typecast because of that character. And you see him in Dracula, and he's playing this really, stiff British man. Right. And then you see him in Point Break, and for that one moment, he does kind of like that stoner surfer dude, right. Bill voice, and you're like, yeah. But I'm really excited. I got to tell you, I never thought we'd get a third movie. It was always talks. They'd always say they would do it. A lot of movies are being not so much rebooted, or they're going back to something from the 80s. And this is one I just think could really work. It's got the original writers coming back. A lot of the original cast. Death is going to be in it again. I've been trying to stay away from plot points because I know some of it. Basically, they haven't written that song that's going to save the world, which, let's be honest, I think we need that song right now.
So you want to be surprised?
I want to be surprised on this one. I am trying my best. I will watch probably a trailer, but I don't want to know spoilers. Bill and Ted, of course, first premiered in '89, and then the sequel in '91. Bill and Ted Face the Music is coming out this summer, despite theaters, movies being pushed back and theaters opening soon. It will hit the theaters. There is a lot of history to Bill and Ted, though. This is what I find very interesting. The cartoon series, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. This was an animated series from '90 and '91. In 1990,
Toys.
I'm sorry, NECA Toys has toys out now. Yeah,
coming out. Yep.
Based off that series. In 1990, there were 13 episodes. The characters of the main three. Rufus was voiced by George Carlin. Ted was Keanu Reeves. Bill was Alex Winter. In 1991, 8 more episodes came out. They were switched by somebody else. Bill was voiced by an actor named Evan Richards, and Ted was by Christopher Kennedy. These are the same guys who did the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures live-action series, which only lasted for 1 season. So here you are with the cartoon series. You get the original voices, and you get rid of them to have the guys from the stupid live-action show. It reminds me so much of when Ernie Hudson auditioned for Winston Zeddemore for the Real Ghostbusters and got turned down, and they cast Arsenio Hall. It's kind of like a slap to the actor's face, and this was something I believe that Alex Winter always had a problem with, which I don't blame him. You created this character, you do the voice, I believe, and now these dudes take over. As far as a live action show, it didn't last too long. I'm very sure you can find it on YouTube. Type in Bill and Ted, you're probably going to pull up a bunch of stuff. The show, I remember seeing an episode or two of the live action. They just didn't have it. They couldn't portray Bill and Ted to me the right way. But yes, if you can check on YouTube, I would recommend it. You at least see the opening. The cartoon I know has been on YouTube. I've seen a few things like that. Even more interesting was that for a good set of years, Universal Studios Orlando and Hollywood had a Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure show. They did over 22 Halloween shows, and pretty much just ran from 1999 to 2012, and it kind of featured things going on in that day, and these were always played at Halloween Horror Nights. Unfortunately, it's no longer a thing that Universal Halloween Horror Nights does, but they're on YouTube if you ever wanted to watch them. And then, of course, there was the cereal, Bill and Ted's Excellent Cereal. Supposedly, it was excellent tasting. They've just been around forever, comics and cartoons. And
and the NECA Toys.
The NECA Toys. And the really interesting thing about Bill and Ted ties into Back to the Future. The original concept for Back to the Future wasn't a DeLorean, it was a refrigerator. They didn't want to use a refrigerator because they were afraid children might
back to
do
that Punky Brewster episode.
Yeah, and go into this refrigerator and get locked in. So they went for the DeLorean, which obviously makes a better choice. Bill and Ted's original concept was a 1969 Chevy van, but they couldn't do it because Back to the Future used the car, and they felt, we gotta do a little different. So they used a phone booth. So I always kind of get a kick out of how it's a little bit back and forth on that one. But yeah, Bill and Ted, I'm looking forward to. NECA is coming out with toys based off the animated series, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's toys based off this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I don't know if I'll see it.
They also had toys based off the original movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bill and Ted has just had a ton of merchandise. They had collecting cards for the first movie, and they actually had deleted scenes in it. So if you ever seen pictures of the cavemen and they're chewing the gum and trying to fix the antenna, they have a lot of scenes that were cut out of the movie that were put onto the trading cards, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
But yeah, so that is the news as I have it.
As usual, thank you, Brian Salvatore, for our intro and outro music.
Some assembly required.
Yep. Ming Chen, once again, I'm just going to throw out his Shared Universe podcast studio. Helped us a great deal. As well as filmmaker Rob McCallum, who is still working on his action figure adventure TV show, which I cannot wait to see. His last Twitter account, he was filming the Mondo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, which I have to say are my favorite versions of those characters.
Cool. I actually want to throw out something for anybody who's not familiar with him. His name is Mitchell Wu. He's a toy photographer. Tom and I saw his work this year at Toy Fair. They had a nice little gallery set up. He does some of the best toy photography out there. It's Mitchell Wu, W-U. I highly recommend checking out his artwork. His photographs. One of the best things that he does is not only does he have the picture, but afterwards we'll have a little behind the scenes of how he builds his set, information on the camera, the lighting, and all this stuff. Now, he's a professional photographer taking pictures of toys, and he's got this great one. I'm going to try to tease you in to check out his stuff. It's of Woody from Toy Story with one of the three-eyed aliens for Baby Yoda, kind of like a Mandalorian mashup. His stuff is excellent. So if you really want to look at some cool toy photos, Mitchell Wu is your guy. I highly recommend him.
Nice. All right, a couple of shameless plugs. Don't forget, you can discuss or read about toys on toy-lines.com. You can find us on Twitter at toylines, no hyphen, and our Facebook page, Toy Shelf Magazine.
And if you haven't heard our first podcast, please feel free, go back, check it out. Or if you want to hear it again, do it again while you're doing the dishes. And
we are on SoundCloud, and this week we will be on Podbeam, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts.
And if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to throw at us, what you liked about the show, what you didn't like, any stories, any news that you have about toys. If you are a toy collector, a toy customizer, you like to customize your own toys out of other things, let us know. Customizing is a very interesting part of toys collecting. When you just can't get that figure that you want, you make it yourself. That's pretty cool. So please email us, let us know. Let us know what you want to hear about. That's also another thing.
Yeah, you can reach us at toyspodcast@gmail.com. toyspodcast@gmail.com. So thanks for listening. Stay safe out there. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. All that good stuff. And
right, 20 seconds.
We'll hope to, either hear from you or,
we'll
get
be back.
In touch with us.
Yeah, we'll be getting to work on our third podcast, episode 3, the return of the podcast. So we'll be here, folks.
Yep. Take care and
thank you guys.
Play with your toys.
That's right.